My family growing up was a huge Minnesota Twins fan. We loved going to the Twins games. And we usually got tickets every Tuesday and Sunday. My dad had some season tickets, partial tickets, and it was always Sundays and Tuesdays are the games we went to. And I was fortunate enough, as a second grade, I think it was in 1991, to go to Game 1 of the 1991 World Series with my dad. And it's a moment that I always cherish. And I really cherish it because we sat in the same exact seats that we sat at every single time we went to a Twins game. And it was always the second level, above the third base line, kind of behind the Hardware Hank sign. Remember the Hardware Hank sign at the Metrodome? Some people do. We always sat there 4 rows up in the aisle. And when I was in second grade, it was awesome going to the Twins game. I could see everything and just amazing. I remember in 4th grade, I went to a Twins game with my dad and a couple of my siblings as well. I looked at my dad and I said, "Dad, what's the score?" And he goes, "What do you mean, what's the score? Can't you see the scoreboard across the field?" And I was like, "No, can you? It doesn't look kind of blurry?" He's like, "No, it looks fine." So he's like, "It's 17-0, the Twins are getting killed," or something like that, because they were not very good in 1994, if my memory serves me right. And he goes, can you see the scoreboard, Alex?" "No, I can't really see the numbers." And he says, "Can you see the baseball?" "There's a baseball on the field?" I mean, literally, I didn't really comprehend all this stuff. He's like, "I think it's time to get glasses." And sure enough, I went to the doctor, and of course, first time I've ever been getting my eyes checked, different things is better on option A, option B or option C. It was very confusing. It still is. I went back a month ago, very confusing. I always give the wrong answer, it feels like. But anyways, there I was, and eventually the doctor says, "Yeah, well, it turns out that you need glasses." So they gave me glasses. And I went to the Twins game, and it was amazing. I finally could see the Twins lose 22-0 or whatever it may be, and Chuck Knobloch, chuck a ball way off into second base or something like that. So it was great, but it was this eye-opening experience, no pun intended, that I needed glasses. But it took something like this to realize that I truly was blind. I just thought this was normal. I thought everyone else had the same exact vision that I did. Very blurry, you couldn't see anything at all. Kind of reflecting on our spiritual life, I've come to the realization that we're blind as well. Maybe not physically, but spiritually. That we don't always see as Christ wants us to see. Of course, our readings today speak of, in the first reading, the blind being able to see. Our second reading from James saying, "Show no partiality. When you see someone, treat them with honor and dignity and respect." Of course, our gospel, the rite of Ephatha, opening up our ears, opening up our mouth. You could say opening up our eyes to see the Lord. But this past month and a half, I think we've seen some news stories that probably opened up our eyes and realized that we've been blind to a lot of things going on in our society, in our midst. Maybe we've chosen to be, I don't know. Of course, about a month and a half ago, Planned Parenthood came into the news because of videos that came out of what they're doing. They've been doing for a long time, selling body parts of fetuses. And they still come out. And because of this, of course, there's been an uproar. Praise God, right? That there has been an uproar of what's going on is wrong. So much so that there's protests planned all over the place, especially on like Wednesday at the governor's mansion, protesting, saying, "Please investigate Planned Parenthood for what they are doing." But in some sense, before these videos came out, we became numb. We stopped looking when our eyes were blind. Another example, of course, this past week is that maybe you saw on the news the body of Aylin Kurdi, this 3-year-old Syrian boy who washed up on shore as his parents tried to flee Syria. And all of a sudden, we start paying attention. We start saying, okay, what about the refugees? How do we treat them? How would Christ want us to treat them? And of course, I can tell it makes us uncomfortable. Seeing that image of this little boy, it's very uncomfortable. But our eyes are being opened up and we've realized that we've been blind. And in some ways, we've chosen to be. So look at the second reading, especially from James once again. He says what? Show no partiality to the person who is dressed in fine garments, the one that should honor all their respect and dignity. Treat that person the same exact way that you would treat the person with poor clothes, the lowly, the lowliest of the low. Treat them the same. And how are we called to treat them? The way in which Christ loves us, and treat them like Christ himself. But how do we do this? Well, first off, we must go to God and say, God, heal me, so I may truly see as you see. Open up my eyes, so I may love as you love. Of course, there's a couple of great examples of saints out there. Yesterday, we celebrated the feast of Blessed Teresa of Calcutta. Look at someone who didn't see the person in front of them for what they appeared to be, but rather saw Christ, ministering to the lowliest of the low, those who were about to die, and there she was showing them love, treating them like royalty, like a king, like a queen, welcoming them into her house, into her convent, and treating them with dignity and respect. She was not blind. She went and saw Christ in everyone. On a local level, before he passed away, Bishop Dudley was a great man of the poor. He'd go down to Sharing and Caring Hands on his off day and wash the feet of the poor. He saw them for who they were, Christ's sons, Christ's daughters. For ourselves, when we look at people, who do we see? Do we see Christ? Or does our judgmental attitude start to creep in? Do we start showing partiality? I know I do. I know I'm guilty of this. And so what we need to do then is what? Go to God and once again tell him, heal me. Heal me so that I may love as you love me. Heal me that I may love each other, each and every person I encounter, like I am seeing you and you alone. And when we do this, then this blindness will be cured. It will be washed away, and we truly be able to be who we are called to be, God's sons and daughters ministering to each other.